Peace. On with the show. Captain's log start date is October 20th, 10/20, 2013, and the year, or the time I should say, is 10:16 a.m. Pacific Standard on the West Coast, and today is Sunday. Sunday fun day. Sunday is to relax. So I want to go ahead and get this message out the way early so you can continue on with your Sunday business. Sunday is an important day just like the rest of them. So, authentically speaking, off the top of the head, as usual, yesterday was actually a good day, and I do what works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it is broke, still don't fix it. Just do what works. So, I actually came across a little bit of money, and that's important, just a little bit, but it's headed in the right direction, and the way I got it was pretty easy and simple, just for a little bit of my time. So I believe that that's how it's supposed to be, so I go ahead and acknowledge it. So started off today as usual. Between us as friends, I take a walk, probably about totaled up a mile or 3/4 of a mile, somewhere around there, and I do that to acknowledge my health, because that's how it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be healthy, and I always acknowledge it by taking a walk. It's just a personal habit that I've gotten into. And today I took a walk, and sometimes interesting things happen. And I was passing by a shopping center that's up down the way a little bit. There's a TJ Maxx and Home Goods, and basic anywhere America type of setting, strip mall. And there's actually a bank or a credit union right next to it. And as I was coming around the walkway, I saw a nice, attractive young lady, and she just happened to be coming away from the ATM machine, and she looked pretty good. She had herself fixed up, and I was impressed. So as she was walking to her car, something just came out of my mouth, and I said, "Hey, you looking mighty fine today." And she thought about it for a second, and she said, "Huh?" And I said, "You looking mighty fine today. I just want to tell you that." She thought about it. She said, "Oh, thank you." And I kept it moving. Now, ordinarily, I probably would have continued on with that discussion, but for me, that's just for starters. And that was the start of my day. And in my opinion, that's how it's supposed to be. But in actuality, that's how it is. So I just want to go ahead and acknowledge that. And how it's supposed to be is I can come in the morning and deliver this message and pretty much just say that that's how it's supposed to be, and draw a connection between that, and that's how it is. So the moral of the story is that generally this whole mission, it gets deeper and deeper, but more and more simple as time goes along. It's really an exploration into how to go from how things are or how it is to how it's supposed to be. And I believe that starts with having a clear picture of how it's supposed to be. So a lot you hear from me as far as my opinions, it's just my opinion and stance on how things are supposed to be. And actually, more and more often than not, it really how it is. It really is how it is, and how it is and how it's supposed to be become the same thing. And I believe that that's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to go from one to the other. So I acknowledge that. Thank you to who, what, or however it is that gives me the power to make it as such. Now, there's this book that I read. I've actually read it a couple times. It's Life Strategies by Dr. Phil, some psychology. And I look at stuff like that just to compare it in regards to, or in contrast to, what I already believe and what I already practice, to see if it's in congruence. He's a professional, got a PhD, and so on and so forth. But what he says is pretty on point because it keeps it simple. And he has these life laws. There's 10 of them. You can look them up if you're interested. It's called Dr. Phil's 10 Laws of Life, or Life Laws, Life Strategies. Which one is it? Number 10, the last one, Life Law number 10. See if you can read it. It says you have to name it before you can claim it. You got to name it before you can claim it. Strategy. Get clear about what you want and take your turn. I said, man, that's actually what I've always done. I just come up with a clear picture of how it's supposed to be in comparison to how it is, and I go from how it is to how it's supposed to be. Now, actually, of course, you also have a vision of how it's not supposed to be. I mean, it's automatically, that's how you can tell the difference of how it is versus how it's supposed to be and how it's not supposed to be. And encounter a life scenario with people that will be really quick to tell you how it's not supposed to be, have a lot of complaints about how it's not supposed to be, but never really have a clear and accurate picture or idea of exactly how it's supposed to be in their minds. But that's just them. For me, how it's supposed to be is to know how you see it as supposed to be, and then maybe you too can claim it as it is. For those who tuned in to get the technicalities, it's an ongoing process and takes a lot of work and effort, because that's how I believe it's supposed to be. You got to earn your stripes and pay your dues and get your seasoning. And how it's supposed to be is you have to put forth the work, you have to put forth the effort, and you have to pay your dues, pay your money, pay your value for that answer. So for those who are tuning in, as far as that information is concerned, that's not how it's supposed to be, where you just get it for free. I know many of y'all tune in for that, but that's not how it's supposed to be. And I think that's an actual thing that takes place that a lot of people got to get worked out. You have how you might like it to be, how you might wish it was, but honestly, in a person's heart, sometimes I don't think they really believe that that's how it's supposed to be. A lot of times it may be self-centered, like a person wishes that they were the center of the universe and everybody was put here to serve their needs and wants. That's how they might like it to be or wish it was. But I think they know honestly in their own soul that that's different from how it's really supposed to be. And in actuality, they know that how it's not supposed to be. But for whatever reason, stay stuck in it. But off the top of the head, different strokes for different folks. For me, it's how it's supposed to be, and I go from that to how it is. And how it is for me is just continuing victory. And how it's supposed to be and how it is an acknowledgement of that. So today's Sunday school lesson is just to put this on the table and continue on with the process and draw the line between how it is and how it's supposed to be, and make a connection and say it is. That's like God power. Just watching the book of Eli, and he was reciting the first verses of the Bible, and I believe it's in Genesis, the third one. God said, "Let there be light," and it was. God has a mouth. God speaks it into existence, and boom, it is. Another victory. So follow that working example and say on with the show, and wish you peace.